Life isn't always going to be fair. I think all of us learn this at one point or another, whether just by being around for long enough, or if you've had an experience that shook you to your core. Why do bad things sometimes happen to good people? Why don't bad people always get the punishment that we think they deserve? And why is it that the best of us sometimes have to go through more just to get what we deserve?
There must be an explanation. Think, Squidward, think!
So some of these questions I'll be attempting to answer in this episode, and I'll also be talking about mindset shifts that have helped me to overcome situations that I didn't think were fair. Because you could always just sit around wondering why something bad happened, whether it's you or someone you know, or you can take the actions to make that thing work in your favor, and ultimately find the meaning in it later. And if you're someone who's open to learning, life will always be the best teacher. It might not be fair when you have to go through suffering or pain, but if you keep your mind and heart open, and take everything as another layer of armor to make you even more resilient, then it's true that everything that doesn't kill you makes you stronger. In this episode, I'll also be reading a chapter from my book on the subject. I'll talk about all the various lessons that I've learned through all the obstacles that I've had to overcome, and I'll discuss how sometimes it sucks when I try to do everything right, and yet I don't get the desired result, but all the ways that this has actually pushed me to go beyond my initial goals. So we have all that and more, so without further ado, let's dive deeper now.
Give me a...
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the Jared and James channel. I'm Jared Weiss. If you guys know that must mean not subscribe to the channel, so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts in the video. Follow me on every platform, and if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to check out my book, Fight Through by Jared Weiss. All links purchased it on my website, which is jaredryanweiss.com. That's JAREDRYANWEISS.com. Buy the book, support me, and make sure to check out all the awesome shirts in there as well. Every shirt has been designed by me, every shirt is made of 100% organic cotton, so any support at all, as I'm always saying, will be very much appreciated. So let's dive deeper now into learning how life isn't always fair, but it will be the best teacher. So I want to start off this episode by reading a chapter from my book, which is called Life is Not Obligated to Be Fair, but if you are open to learning, it will be the best teacher, and this is chapter 58. So, one of my favorite pressure releasing mottos is I either win or I learn. In other words, there is no losing, there is no wasted time, there are no bad games or bad experiences, because in every loss or every negative experience, there is always something to be learned. As I mentioned earlier, from 8th grade onward, one of my passions was health and wellness in order to become the best athlete and best person I could possibly be. I've never even had a piece of junk food or food that I consider to be unhealthy since the 8th grade, and this is still true today. My body is my temple, and I don't want to do anything that can damage it. Moreover, I always wanted to be a role model, so to me, if I was trying to show kids, and adults as well who look up to me, the importance of a healthy lifestyle, it would be hypocritical to be doing things like getting drunk and eating garbage. I never curse unless I'm quoting someone or I'm super angry. I am someone who tries to live my life by principles. This helps guide my decision making in difficult times, as I'm always trying to be the best version of myself. I thought I was doing everything in my power to stay healthy, not get sick, and bulletproof my body. Although I now realize that there are so many other aspects of health, such as detoxification, getting sleep, and taking into account the importance of relationships with people, meditation, and spiritual health, etc. Even in spite of not knowing these things, I was still doing my best to take control over my health, and clearly I was doing much more than the average teenager. So it came as such a shock when I was the one who got so sick. It didn't seem fair and it didn't make sense. How could this happen to me? I was supposed to be the healthy one. Over the years, I saw all my peers eating whatever they wanted and participating in many harmful behaviors. Was I doing something wrong? As I mentioned earlier, in hindsight, there are many potential causes of why I got so sick in the first place. As much as I tried to control things, I couldn't control the sequence of events that spiraled out of control. I couldn't control the toxins that had accumulated in my body that I had yet to learn about. I never even thought about a toxic input. Going along those lines, there's a really interesting concept that Alex Zach once mentioned in the podcast, which is that when you don't know about something, it can't be your responsibility. So if you find $5,000 in your backyard, prior to knowing that the money was there, it wasn't your responsibility. Same thing goes for your life decisions. But no matter how hard you try, things don't always happen the way they're supposed to, or the way that you think they're supposed to. Because I now believe that the universe is always working in your favor as long as you're continuing to strive towards your best self. But this was one of the hardest lessons I had to learn. I couldn't control everything as much as I tried. the hardest worker doesn't always get the spot on the team and bad things happen to good people. However, accepting this does not mean that you should not be doing everything in your power to control what you can. You do have a lot of control over your life and your health and the direction that your life takes, but after you've put the work in and done what you were supposed to do, some things are still out of your control. Just because you can't achieve perfection doesn't mean you should stop trying, or just because something bad happened to you does not mean that you should stop being a good person or stop giving your best effort. It's up to us to make meaning out of our struggles and to find the reason. I either win or I learn. So once again, that was chapter 58. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing that. If you guys want to read more, check the book out on my website once again, jaredryanweiss.com. So, as I say at the end of that chapter, the hardest worker doesn't always get the spot on the team, and bad things sometimes happen to good people. And it sucks, of course it does. And this is something that has always been super tough for someone like me to accept. And just to be clear, I don't mean this in a way to come off like, oh, I'm above you guys, but it's like I'm only someone who tries to do things by the book. And this is why, as I mentioned in the past, all throughout high school I was known as like a tryhard.
I said you're a loser!
But of course I wore this as a badge of honor. I never drank, never smoked, and I felt like I was doing everything possible to be the healthiest person, even though I've since discovered other aspects to holistic health, and have come to understand some potential reasons as to why I got so sick. But it's like, why was I the one who had to go through a whole life-threatening illness at the age of 18, and I'm still not fully healed yet at the time of filming, almost 11 years later? And of course this can change at any time because like, I've been taking all the steps to heal and like I definitely feel it coming soon. But my peers were out drinking and smoking while I was spending my Friday nights and weekends at the gym, or playing in a sports game. Why have I had these massive digestive issues when my peers were eating junk all the time? How come I didn't get the playing time that like I deserved on that team, despite being by far the hardest worker? Now of course, being someone who tries to check all the boxes and is a perfectionist, I don't get this when this happens.
It just don't add up!
It's like, if I did everything right and this person does everything wrong, how come they were rewarded? Or another hard one that like I grapple with often. Why is this person's content blowing up right now when I'm providing more value and more inspiration, and I've been doing this for way longer? Now, if I had all the answers to why this happens, it wouldn't be so frustrating, but I will say that like through every obstacle I've faced, and through every one that like I've been forced to overcome, I've either learned a powerful lesson or taken another huge step in my development as a person. Friction is going to create fire, and coal under pressure, that's how you get diamonds. So, what are some of these lessons that I've been forced to learn through all the obstacles that I've had to face? For instance, with my content early on, I was talking about some more controversial subjects, and this was even before diving fully into podcasting, and I was getting heavily shadow banned.
I'm banned! You're banned.
I got so frustrated because I felt like my voice was being silenced, so then after appearing on a few other podcasts, and making one of my own, I loved it and I felt that this was my fullest expression, and I felt so called to do this. So I decided to buy some podcast mics, some equipment, and get this whole thing rolling, and I've been doing it for the past 4+ to 5 years now. And every time I get frustrated with lack of views, I don't change my content because I'm not a sellout, and of course I don't change my message, and that's definitely not what I'm all about. I'm not into chasing the trends or chasing the algorithm. I'm about helping people and making a positive difference. But when this happens, I do think of how to amplify my content, or what are some things like I could add to it to make it get more reach. How can I play with the algorithms a little bit to at least help my reach a little bit, while of course staying on brand? So this is why I've added in tweet posts or dance videos, with a good message of course, or some fun acting videos as other ways to help what I'm doing to reach more people. But it's like if you guys look at Haley Welsh, aka the Hawk Tua girl, not trying to single her out or hate on her too much. If you thought her whole thing was funny or whatever, so be it. But is that really what you want to be known for the rest of your life? That's how she blew up.
Hawk to and spit on that thing!
That's how people are going to remember her, and that's hard to break free from. So yes, you can always get famous and get to the top by doing something stupid, but is that sustainable long term, or do you just end up like ruining your whole image? Eventually, as I say, you either have one of two things that happen. Either no one takes you seriously anymore after your whole 15 minutes of fame are up, or you keep having to do more ridiculous things to stay relevant, which of course eventually leads to infamy. So yes, it can be frustrating when I see someone like that blow up overnight, while I'm out here grinding for every one view and every one like, while I'm promoting positive messages, but as I always say, I'd rather get there the right way as opposed to it's just the fast way. Every time I've been cut from a team or not given the playing time like I know I deserved, I didn't sit around sulking and I didn't quit. I got back in the lab after watching some motivational videos, and I used this as fuel to become even better and more undeniable. when I went through my whole life-threatening illness, which I'm still healing from, and saw every single doctor who said like they had no idea what was going on and that I was gonna have to live with these issues forever.
Forever!
Did I just roll over and believe them? Hell no, I got to researching on my own and found out all about holistic health and natural healing, and I've been able to make so much progress as a result. So as you can see, every time I had an obstacle in front of me, even when it wasn't fair to be going through this, I could have just turned back around, and once again none of these obstacles made sense to me, but each of them forced me to get stronger and learn something new to retool and get even better. So once again, life isn't always fair, but it will be the best teacher as long as you're open to learning. Now as you can see, this is the resilient perspective I've chosen to take every time I'm faced with one of these obstacles that isn't fair and that doesn't make sense to me. And so getting deeper into this perspective, maybe this thing wasn't a punishment, but maybe this is God and the universe's way of elevating me even further and guiding me on my best path all along. So it's like being that I am a perfectionist. When I do something, I want to get it right. Not just half right or 25% right.
Right? Wrong.
So it's like if I thought I was doing everything possible to be the best athlete and then I get cut from a team, for someone like me who's not going to give up, this is going to force me to find my weaknesses and find what went wrong. And sometimes maybe it was that I was doing too much and I had to back off a bit. With my health situation, here I am trying to be the healthiest person, and I'm the one who goes through a life-threatening illness. Well, if I'm trying to be the best, healthiest version of myself, and I go through this, I'm forced to figure out what happened, because that's just like who I am. And what I learned was that like a vaccine caused my body to be overwhelmed by toxins. Then of course I was given poor medical care at first, as I was put on 21 different antibiotics at a time.
Your patient, Mr. Krabs, is out on the front sidewalk.
Yes, he is.
Oh, what were you thinking, man? We're trying to run a business.
So then I start doing some more digging and find out like where all these toxins come from. Then I go down the whole rabbit hole of holistic health and detoxing, and learned about all these other aspects, where if I didn't go through this, I would have had no reason to learn everything. And there wouldn't have been any impetus for me to go so deep into my research. So to bring home this message, was it fair that like I had to go through so much hell to learn these lessons? No. But did every single one of them, and every single time that like I've been challenged by life, make me way stronger, smarter, and more resilient in the end? Yes, 1000%. So these weren't actually punishments, and these obstacles weren't sent to me by accident, but I believe that like they were all placed there to help me become stronger, and even better than I ever thought possible. And this is why, as I've been saying for a while now, when I do ultimately heal to 100% from my health challenges, I won't just be better as far as I see it, I'll actually be beyond better. Next, I want to reference some lyrics from a song called Someday We'll Know, and the song is by New Radicals. So the chorus goes, someday we'll know if love can move a mountain, someday we'll know why the sky is blue, someday we'll know why I wasn't meant for you. And the whole song is about like all these things that like didn't make sense to the person, but yet what they acknowledge is that like someday we'll know. And I think the most important message from this song is that a lot of things don't make sense to us in the moment, and some things are better left misunderstood, and we can find the answers later on. Or some things just like have to leave for God and the universe to understand, and we don't have to. Because if you're searching for why bad things happen to good people, you're gonna end up super depressed. And of course I've developed my own beliefs, whether with karma, or past life experiences, or the afterlife, or even possibly reincarnation, or of course chances and opportunities for growth if you're still alive. But if I were to sit around all day asking why me, why did this happen to me, why did this happen to this person, why did I have to go through a whole life-threatening illness? Why did I, someone who always tries to be the best, kindest person, and treat others right, how come this person mistreated me? Why do I seem to get mistreated so often, or even like bullied, when I would never do this to someone else?
There must be an explanation.
But as you can tell from this video now, I choose to see all the ways that going through all these challenges made me better, stronger, and more resilient, and also like actually helped me to show people that anything is possible, as I'm now a walking testament, which is something I've always believed in, and wanted to prove to people even before going through all this. And as a quote I've referenced a million times from Steve Jobs goes, you can't connect the dots moving forwards, you can only connect them looking back. So, trying to understand why that girl broke up with you, or why you didn't make the team even though like you were better than everyone else there, will often leave you at a loss for answers. But if you see everything is working in your favor, and choose to believe as I do that everything is either a lesson or a blessing, you can then move on now and find out the why later on. Next, I want to emphasize the importance of always be learning. Take everything that happens to you or others in your life as an opportunity for learning and growth. Maybe the reason why I'm not fully better yet doing what I've done so far is because I had like a lot more learning to do, And if I would have been granted full healing back then, maybe it wouldn't have lasted. And I believe that like God wants what's ultimately going to be best for me. And it's like one of my favorite quotes goes, God will never grant you peace in something that isn't meant for you. So God doesn't just want me to get like a little bit better, but all better in all areas of my life. Same thing if you've ever been through a breakup. In that moment it sucks, or even like getting rejected sucks. And it's like in that moment you're going to be wondering, why did she not love me? But I believe that eventually it all makes sense, and you can connect the dots looking back, and realize that there was something better waiting for you on the other side. And taking this a step further, it's like being someone who goes all in on everything that I do. Something I've had to learn that life has made me realize is that more isn't always better. And of course this topic could get like its own video, because I have so many examples of this too. Maybe sometimes why being the hardest worker didn't get me where I wanted to was actually because I had to realize the concept of diminishing returns. And I had to realize that like while being a hard worker is great, being a smart hard worker is even better. And so if I would have been rewarded for always being the hardest worker, there probably wouldn't be anything left of me right now, because I'm someone who literally would have worked myself into the ground.
I'm dying.
So I had to learn, as hard as it was, that rest is productive and essential too. I used to wear my tiredness and busyness as a badge of honor, but now I have sometimes learned to take a step back and allow all the work I've already done to now work for me. One final point I want to make is that another interesting thing is maybe that like when the times life isn't fair, because I'm doing or trying my best like to do everything right and everything perfect, maybe what this is revealing to me is that I don't have to be perfect, or that like I don't have to be so hard on myself all the time. Now look, I don't think there's anything wrong with being a perfectionist, and I'm proud of it because of course it indicates how well I want to do, and how I want to be the best person, the best athlete, the best content creator, the healthiest, strongest, etc., etc. And all those are admirable things and admirable goals to strive towards. But when I see someone do something not so perfect and still get rewarded, maybe I could see this as like God telling me that it's okay to not be so perfect all the time. Of course, keep those high standards for myself and don't lower those, because like I do believe in my higher purpose and in my whole higher mission. And as I've spoken about all in this video, how I believe that like all these tests and challenges have only made me stronger. But maybe if like I miss a workout one day because I needed some rest, or because like I was having fun with a friend, or I make a mistake in a video, or I eat something that's like not entirely organic, a piece of fruit that like isn't organic, I don't have to beat myself up about this because we're humans, we're not robots. And I do love my whole perfectionist nature. This is who I was intended to be, and like I wouldn't love myself any other way. But sometimes life reminds us that like perfection doesn't have to be there for something great to still happen. There is perfection in life's imperfections, and there is beauty in the struggle, so these are important lessons as well. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, hope you guys enjoyed the message. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. I will catch you guys next time. Stay positive, stay hustling, stay grinding, catch you next time. Peace.